graduate level on academic writing in collaboration with national and international agencies. He is an active researcher who is supervising 2 PhD scholars and has published numerous research articles in the areas of Indian poetics and aesthetics, comparative literature, Indian theories of language, culture, and religion in the journals of national and international repute. His research article on a folk religious practice has been accepted for publication by the Religions of South Asia, UK. He has been presenting his research outputs in the conferences held in India in the capacities of keynote speaker, plenary speaker, and panelist. He presented his articles in the 17th World Sanskrit Conference held at the University of British Columbia, Vancouver, and 16th European Association for the Study of Religions at the University of Tartu, Estonia. He is actively engaged in delivering lectures as a resource person in the national level workshops, faculty development courses, refresher and orientation courses organized by various universities. A book by him titled Epistemology and Linguistics was published by Motilal Banarasi Das, New Delhi, in April 2019. He has signed a contract with publication of his upcoming edited volume on aesthetics and philosophy of art. Presently, he is engaged in translating a celebrated book by the propounder of Somisthetics, Professor Richard Shusterman. Also, he is working on an ICSSR funded project on Paninian School of Grammar, a seat of modern linguistics and post-structuralist poetics. For giving me this opportunity, now I request the resource person to take over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this liberal introduction.
Thank you.
I welcome all the participants in this session on academic writing. I hope my screen is visible to you. Please let me know if
it's visible, sir.
Visible, ma'am?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, ma'am. So I would begin with Ernest Hemingway's life. Could I begin, ma'am?
Sir, yes, sir. Please, sir.
So I request all other participants to just mute their microphone so that unnecessary, sounds don't come. So I would begin with Ernest Hemingway's line, a quotation from Ernest Hemingway's writing, where he tells us about, the very interesting fact that whatever we try to learn here in this world, we cannot become master. So this notion of being a master itself is very much false. He says we are all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master. So when we talk about academic writing or any sort of writing, communication, or any art, craft, science, technology, whatever we are talking about, we keep on learning. There is no end to learning. Learning is the only goal and it never ends. We keep on learning. Plato's opinion is also similar on this. He says that in this world nothing is perfect, and therefore the only one thing that is constant in this world is change. So change is for the sake of perfection, which is not present in this world. So nothing is perfect. So Ernest Hemingway sounds the same thing. So we will begin our discussion on this line. We all will be learning only, and let us go ahead with discussing and learning something new. To begin with, when we talk about academic writing, So any writing basically is based on language. Language is something that is writing from any other sort of writing. So it is the language used that distinguishes academic writing. So to understand the difference between language in everyday informal context and in an academic context. So when we use language in academic context, it is formal, while in everyday context, the language is informal. We will discuss how this distinction is very much apparent and how should we avoid using everyday language. Being simple and lucid is different, and using informal language is different, because sometimes we may feel confused with the idea of being simple and using everyday language. Because when it comes to everyday language, there, there may be a lot of ambiguities. But in academic writing, there is no scope for ambiguities. Let us go ahead with the writing is. So basically, when ma'am asked me, I thought of talking about this particular topic because it is really useful for the students. And this FDP is for the induction and orientation of students. So students must be skilled in this particular, skill or art, you can say. Writing is a kind of art. So students need to be good at this. Therefore, let us discuss it. So I chose this topic because of this reason. What is academic writing? So we can easily understand that academic writing is also a sort of writing only, like any other writing. But there are certain distinguishing features that distinguish academic writing from any other sort of writing. For example, we have journalistic writing, we have creative writing, we have interpersonal kind of writing, which we use in today, a lot of social media platforms are there, like we write blogs, we use WhatsApp, we use Facebook and other like Instagram. So many social media platforms are there where we are not bound to follow the rules of academic writing. There we become really creative. We use even, the rules of creative writing are violated in interpersonal context. When we write in interpersonal context, there are certain, mutually agreed codes which we use, which people may not understand. Only those people can understand who are communicating with each other, because those codes are known to only the speaker and the listener. And you must be witnessing such codes if you try to recall. So what is academic writing? Academic writing basically is used for communicating scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge for academic and research purposes. Scientific knowledge doesn't mean the knowledge of science only. Basically, academic writing is used on campuses. Many of you must be aware about RP, received pronunciation. Received pronunciation, if we really start thinking about the use of RP in Britain, around 10% of people, the rest of the people don't use RP. RP is the standard pronunciation of English. So basically, RP is used by the royal family, who are believed to maintain that status standard. Oxford, Cambridge, BBC. So these are some other agencies which still use RP. Otherwise, when it comes to common men, they use a different kind of pronunciation, like it deviates from RP. So similar is the situation with academic writing. When we are writing on different platforms, we don't usually use academic writing. Academic writing is basically used on campuses. When we communicate with our students or our students communicate with us, when we are writing research papers, when our students are writing answers. So these writings involve academic writing. So be it technical subject, because when it comes to the specific disciplines, disciplines will be having specific words which are known as jargons. So jargons distinguish. In academic writing itself, you will find different kind of different set of language or writings are used, because when a researcher of chemistry is writing a research paper, it will be in academic writing. We are going to see that also, how it is distinct from other sort of writing. But that research paper written by a chemist may not be understood by a researcher who works in the area of mathematics, because his expertise is different. The jargons that are used by the chemist may not be understood by mathematician. So when mathematician writes a research paper, basic platform of writing, but jargons would be there which distinguish those research papers from the other disciplines. So the basic purpose of using academic writing is to communicate scientific knowledge. It is generally quite formal, objective, and technical. The basic characteristic feature, if we talk about in 3 words, we can distinguish academic writing from any other sort of writing. And these 3 words are formal, objective. How academic writing is formal? Academic writing is formal by avoiding informal words, contractions, colloquial use of language, being very emotional in the usage of language, using strong words, being judgmental. Objective means being impersonal. When we focus on ideas more and we do not the people, whether it is about yourself, like every time when we write, most of the time we say, I think, according to me. So academic writing advises the writer not to refer to himself again and again. We'll talk about it. We'll delineate on this, discuss it more. And technical. How is it technical? By the use of jargons. So academic writing is technical also, because here we use jargons, and this use of jargon distinguishes it from different disciplines. And certainly, as we discussed previously, it is used on campuses. So it is used basically by the people working in academia to address their need. In all forms of academic writing, ideas take center stage and people are in the background. So as we discussed, how can you be objective or impersonal? By focusing more on ideas and less on people. Who has written a piece of research, whose research output that work is, certainly matters. But what matters more is the research idea. The idea matters more here, not the person who is there behind the idea. Logical rigor, formal language, and some universally accepted conventions. So these are the things which really matter in academic writing. Logical rigor should be there. When we develop paragraph should be logically connected with the preceding one. There should be logical connection, natural connection. Then formal language, as we discussed, language should be formal, and how to make language formal, we will discuss it. And some universally accepted conventions. There are certain universally accepted conventions in writings. We follow them to make our writing distinct from everyday language, language use in writing. Any writing is defined as formal or informal, academic or general, primarily on the basis of the language use, as we discussed. Now, how is academic writing different from other kinds of writing? I don't know what kind of sound is coming. Some unknown
Sir,
sound.
what is the problem, sir?
Some unknown sound was coming, ma'am. Now it is not coming.
I'll check it out.
Someone must have switched on
I'll check it out.
this mic, I think.
Yeah, I'll check.
Now, let's focus on the distinction between academic writing and other sorts of writings, like journalistic writing. You must be aware of journalistic writing. Journalistic writing is basically used in newspapers, magazines, and any other sort of writing that deals with news item. So you see, found in newspaper and magazines, news articles, report and sometimes comment on current events. See, the nature of writing itself is different here. When we present some research article, the nature of article would be different there. And when we write something on the same topic in a newspaper, everything would be different here. The reason is the target audience is different. Here we are trying to address mass. There we are trying to address enlightened audience. Enlightened audience means you have some particular audience or reader. They are going to read your research paper. If you are writing a research paper in chemistry, you expect that research paper to be read only by the chemists, students of chemistry, or the experts. That is not being written for common people, for whom you have to be very general in your approach. But if you are taking up a topic of chemistry to